and welcome to episode number 411 of Simplifying Live. With me, Shashank, I'm your host and the CEO of Simplifying. Did you know that two airlines are turning 100 this year? 100 years old is what KLM and Avianca will be before 2019 closes. KLM started in October 1919, and Avianca in Colombia started in November 1919. 100-year-old airlines. That's pretty neat, isn't it? In fact, among the oldest airlines in the world, lots of them will be turning 100 in the next couple of years. They include KLM, Avianca, Qantas, Aeroflot, Delta, Czech Airlines, as well as Finnair. The interesting thing I noted was not only are these the oldest airlines in the world, there's something else that's common. They're also the most digitally savvy airlines in the world. That's right. Five of the top 10 oldest airlines in the world are today some of the most digitally savvy as well. Let's look at KLM. We already know how good KLM is in social media. They have a team of over 150 people dedicated to dealing with customer issues to try and sell on social media. It's not just about marketing, it's about digital improvement to the travel process. For example, you can now receive your boarding pass via Facebook Messenger and reply to KLM about a gate change question over WeChat, for example. You don't even need to download the KLM app or go to the KLM website. Isn't that neat? If you look at the likes of Delta, which I shared just a couple of weeks ago, they're leading the foray into blockchain and artificial intelligence. But simple things like tracking your bag via the mobile app is something that Delta allows everyone to do. Just simple, small steps that these airlines are taking. Avianca, I think, has a bright future when it comes to digital because not only is its CEO Hernan, ex Microsoft CEO, the Chief Digital Officer Santiago, he is bringing so many ideas from outside of aviation and infusing it into the airline that it's a matter of time before the airline reinvents itself and becomes a digital first company that happens to fly planes. Those are just three. What about Finnair? Many of you might have seen my interview with Katri, the Chief Digital Officer at Finnair, and she was using terms like scrums and sprints, which are usually alien in an airline world where most airlines and people within airlines are familiar with RASM, CASM, or RASC in some parts of the world, or OTP, on-time performance. But Scrum and sprints are new terms that are common now in Finnair because of this huge digital team that Guthrie had set up. Finnair is leading the digital revolution when it comes to Northern European airlines. And then there is Qantas. Qantas has had this long desire to do ultra long haul flights from Australia to London, Australia to New York. In fact, they've already started Perth to London. They now want to do Sydney, London, and Sydney, New York non-stop as well. But what will change within these flights? That's called Project Sunrise, which is being led by the CEO of Qantas International, Allison, and David, who is the chief designer, David Kwan, who's the chief designer, thinking digitally first of what would people like to do. Everything from learning how they do their Spotify playlists to how they take care of their wellness with wireless headphones. Digital is at the core of these airlines, and it is not a surprise because guess what? Either digital happens to be the core of these airlines, or the fact really is that because these guys have innovated continuously, because these airlines have constantly been looking at what's next and getting there, it is because of that they have survived 100 years. Now that's a lesson that we can all take in every industry. How do you survive 100 years? Well, you keep innovating, not just digitally, that just happens to be the flavor of the time right now, but you got to keep innovating to survive 100 years. Just some lessons from the top 5 of the 10 oldest airlines in the world. I'd love to hear your thoughts on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Twitter. Meanwhile, you guys have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you tomorrow. Till then, have a great one. Bye bye.